Why don't you have video? It was the one thing you were hired to, well, one of the two things you were hired to do is to have a video of her wedding. She has no video of her reception. None. But you were taking video at the reception, right? You're going table to table, say congratulate the bride, all the cool things people say at the wedding and all that. And then what happened to that video?
This is the plaintiff, Tiffany King. She says she hired the defendant to videotape her wedding, and the irresponsible guy lost all of the footage, and now she has nothing. She never got her photos from him either, and the guy was hired to record the best day of her life. But due to his negligence and lack of care, she'll never be able to relive those memories again. She's suing for $5,000, the state max. This is the defendant, Calvin. He says the video card was damaged at the wedding because everything was so hectic and unprofessional at her reception. He has photos from the plaintiff's big day, but she posted nasty and terrible things about him online that aren't true. And he's the one who's been irreparably damaged by the plaintiff's vicious lies. He's accused of not getting the picture.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milian is now presiding. Litigants have been sworn.
Thank you, Douglas. All right, Ms. King, you and your mom, and you have power of attorney from your mom, hired the defendant's company to videotape and photograph your wedding, correct?
Yes.
When was your big day?
September 3rd, of 2021.
And he was doing both the photography and the video?
Yes.
How many people did he bring to do that?
One other person.
All right, and how did the wedding go?
Well, one other person that I saw.
Okay.
It might have been people at the ceremony, but at the reception, it was only two of them. And when he came to my hotel, it was just two of them.
Okay.
One did video and one did photography.
All right. So can you tell me what went wrong here?
Well, everything was good up until I started asking him for my finished product. I started asking about 2 weeks after the wedding, when can I expect the video and the photos? And he started by saying, "Oh, I'm perfecting it. I'm working on it. You're gonna love it." So I took him at his word, and a month went by. I did get some proofs, and it had Tiffany and Barry on it, and my husband's name is Perry. Uh-oh. And I did tell him about it, and he said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna fix that and send it right back." He never sent any photos after that. And then the video, he kept telling me, first he was telling me, "I'm perfecting the video, so that's why you haven't gotten it yet." And he told me his mom was sick. Then he told me, meet me this Friday. I have everything for you. We're gonna go. Then he called me that Thursday and said, "Oh, I have to reschedule. I'm gonna mail it to you." So never got anything in the mail. Then it was, okay, we can meet again. Cancel that. And it became a point of, all right, what's really going on? If you have it, why haven't you put it in the mail? Or why can't we meet up to get it? Then he found about either the end of November, he finally admitted to me that he lost the video
of your wedding.
And of my he said I lost the video. He lost the video of the reception. He said he had the video of the wedding and he was gonna mail it, but still nothing in the mail. And he also said he made me a photo album of 400 pictures. I picked out the pictures.
Wait, hold on. Was that part of your contract?
That was not part of the initial contract.
So when did it become part of the contract?
It became part of the contract after when he sent me the photos via text. He sent me the proofs via text, and I said, "Oh, do you print these or is it just a link?" He said, "I can do both." That's what he said to me.
Right, but that costs money. Was he charging you for that?
No, he did not.
So then why was he giving you this offer of making you a 400 photo album?
He said that's what he'd do. Because I asked him, I specifically said, do you make an album or is it just the...
So that was included then in what you already paid for?
It had to be. It wasn't in the contract.
If
The
it's not in
album
the
was not in
okay,
the contract.
all right. So, and in the contract, does it say how long it'll take him to have the pictures and the video?
No.
All right. What happened, Mr. Calvin?
So yes, on the day of the wedding, I'm gonna start at the top. We got through the wedding. We have photographer. I was personally doing the video. We offered a live stream video for the ceremony, and then for the reception, we had reception coverage. We also had a photo booth there, so there was two more people at the reception manning the photo booth. So we had photographer, we had video, and we had photo booth. We ran into a problem with the reception footage because the rushing to get to the reception. The wedding started late, and by the time we got to the reception, there was so many things going on. We had to.
I'm sorry, what's the problem that you're blaming on the bride and the rush? What actually happened? Why don't you have video? It was the one thing you were hired to, well, one of the two things you were hired to do is to have a video of her wedding. She has no video of her reception, none. But you were taking video at the reception, right? You're going table to table, say congratulate the bride, all the cool things people say at the wedding and all that. And then what happened to that video?
So that video was recorded to a digital media card, and some kind of way the card got damaged. I believe the card got damaged because of all the back and forth trying to get the reception started.
How are you blaming a card being damaged on back and forth trying to get a reception started?
Just the same way I'm sitting here talking to you live, I'm telling you what happened. And I ordered software, I purchased software to recover the data from the card, and the data was never recovered. So every time I told her that I would have the video for her, I was working on the video, and part of that was recovering the lost files. So we're recovering the lost files since it's technology that's way beyond what I can use, what I'm.
Right, and even that way beyond technology didn't solve it. So what did they say was the problem, that they couldn't get the files off the card?
They didn't. They just said that they said they couldn't retrieve the files. The files were there. They showed up.
Okay, but I'd like to understand how that's the fault of the bride and the rush, as opposed to something that has to do with you, because you're the expert who's supposed to have a video.
Yes, I am the expert. Absolutely the expert. So in the process, when I couldn't deliver the video to the bride, I told her that I will give you an album. So, and I told her I couldn't get the reception footage. We lost the reception footage, but I will give her an album in exchange for that, and a partial refund. I did the math on all we did, and I said, okay, of that, I came up with $350. She said that's absolutely not acceptable. I said, okay.
What was your fee?
You think $2,750. With that, we did a pre-engagement photo shoot. We did this wedding ceremony. We did a pre-engagement photo shoot. We did the photography for the wedding ceremony and reception. We did a photo booth for the reception, and we did the live stream video for the ceremony.
How did the live stream video for the ceremony go, Ms. King?
It was no sound.
How do you know?
And people told me that, and I pulled it up on YouTube. It was on YouTube.
And there was no sound.
And it was no sound, no sound.
Did you ever tell him that?
I didn't know until recently.
Why was there no sound on the live stream, Mr. Calvin?
As a professional producer, we have the live stream, we had the cameras ISO'd, so if there was a problem with the live stream, we have each camera ISO'd along with live mics and wireless mics to recording sound. We were streaming it and recording it. So there wouldn't have been a problem with sound. If there was a problem with the sound with the live stream, it'd have been corrected. So for what I know, and I just look at it today, for when the ceremony started, there was no problem with we have the wedding vows, we have the prayer, we have everything from the time she walked down the aisle to the time she left.
So she's saying that if I go right now to the YouTube video, I won't hear sound. And I presume that you haven't updated it to take away sound. So if there's no sound, then there was never sound, right?
So that's not correct. There is sound on that video. I looked at it before I started this case because I didn't delete it, and I knew you would need some type of proof to see that the video was streamed. So.
Okay. So I can hear sound on that. So I don't know what was going on the day that you played it. Right now, did you hear the sound? You heard the song now,
I hear it now, yes.
Okay. So that was a link off the, internet. So let's move on to the much graver thing, which is, do you have any pictures of your wedding?
I do have a few pictures, yes.
Okay. Do you have all? Are you supposed to get all of the pictures, a thumb drive with all of the pictures of your wedding?
Yes.
Did you get that?
I did not receive that, no.
All right. And according to him, he offered you the album as a partial refund because of losing all the footage of your reception. Is that when he offered you the album? Because people don't,
No.
I haven't found in my entire life generous photographers, videographers who decide to say they're going to hand you a 400 picture album for no reason at all without charging you, because they got to eat.
Well, no,
you know, so
right.
it sounds, what he's saying has a ring of truth, that he was trying to, you know, that he offered that to you because of losing the video. So I'm seeing some texts between you folks, and in these texts, you ask, on September 20th, good afternoon, Calvin. When can we expect the final video and pics from the wedding? He says about 2 weeks. I'll have the pictures to you this week. You say, okay, how will they come? Digital? And he says, yes, I'll send you a link to download them. And then you say, or do you make an album? And he says, both. And you say, okay, awesome. So it doesn't sound like the album was an offer based on anything. It sounds like you're just tossing an album at them. You're not saying, hey, I lost your video. In fact, you're saying, I'll have your video next week. So why isn't she entitled to the album? Why hasn't the album been sent?
So that was I probably took that out of context, because the idea of me giving her an album was really thinking that the album is available. I don't give out albums for free.
I thought your testimony not 5 minutes ago was that you offered her an album because you lost the...
I did, because if you listen to what she just said, I offered her the album for free because I lost the footage. But at that time of the text, the intention was not to give her an album. The intention was to say that it comes both, not that she would get both. So I was wrong for offering her an album for free. In all actuality, given what it said, she should have gotten an album, regardless of losing her footage or not. I was wrong for offering her the album at that time.
Did you ever send her the thumb drive with all of her pictures?
No, I did not.
Why didn't you do that?
Because the idea was to get her the entire package, everything on one drive, with the wedding ceremony, the wedding reception, all her photographs.
Well, she had paid you in full, right? She had paid you in full. So why didn't you give her everything you didn't lose of her wedding?
She has the thumb drive. She doesn't have the thumb drive, and she doesn't have the photo album. And she has the reception. She doesn't have the reception video.
So what does she have, darling? What does she have?
Welcome back to the People's Court. I'm Harvey Levin. The plaintiff says the defendant botched the biggest day of her life. He was supposed to videotape her wedding. It was a disaster. But the defendant says he has beautiful pictures of the wedding for the plaintiff, and he's not returning any money because she slandered him online. Let's go back into the courtroom.
The reason I didn't give it to her was because I wanted to have everything done at one time, and I didn't have that. So what does she have right now? She has all the pictures from her wedding ceremony.
I'm sorry, I don't know what you're saying. I think the reason you didn't give it to her is because you wanted to get into some settlement and not get sued. Because what did he offer you? Go ahead and you tell me, Ms. King, what did he offer you?
$350.
He wanted to give you $350 and that's it? Just return $350 of a $2,750 price and the photo album. Okay,
yes.
Which you thought you were getting anyway based on the text.
Yes.
Right. So what did you tell him when he offered you $350 for ruining, you know, I mean, your special day? What did he say?
I told him that was an insult.
Okay.
And I said, I'm requesting a full refund for your lack of professionalism and your like not caring. He strung me along for weeks about he was perfecting a video that he never really had. So I said, no, at this point, I'm requesting a full refund because I have no video and I have pictures that say Tiffany and Barry, and my husband's name is Perry. And he even back in September said he was going to redo those pictures and send that to me, and he never did that either. Back in September.
Why wouldn't you do any of this stuff? Or why wouldn't you send the bride her darn pictures when you knew you'd already lost the footage of the reception? Why wouldn't you just comply with the rest of the contract? What is your excuse for having done nothing if it's not that you're hijacking her?
There is no excuse. The idea was to give her entire package.
Well, why didn't you give her? Okay, but you can't get her. What else were you waiting for? What were you waiting for?
So later in this process, we were disputing about the refund. I got a letter in the mail from an attorney saying she would sue me for $5,000. So I stopped everything right then and there. There's no use in doing anything
exactly
else
what I said. So basically,
I didn't hear you say that.
Because you're in legal problems, you're not going to give her anything you owe her. See, an honorable man who understands. You know what? listen
I
to
am
me.
an-
You keep
Judge-
talking about what a professional you are. You're a thief, okay? Because an honorable man would at least say, wow, I really screwed this up.
Fortunately, I
Here you
have the
go.
raw
You're
footage.
suing me, and let's figure out what I owe, what a judge thinks I owe you for losing this footage. But here, honey, here's everything else I said I'd give you. But no, not you. All right. Now, Miss King, we have in our possession all of your photos. I am also entering an order that he is going to give you all of your photos. Those photos belong to you, okay? My order is going to say that they belong to you. You paid for them, and they're yours. And you go somewhere, and you make your own album, and you do what you want to do with the stuff that we are going to make sure you get, because I am ordering him to turn it over to you. In the meantime, I am going to order a refund. You can't really get, I know how emotionally distressing this is, but you can't really get emotional distress in this kind of a case. This is a contracts breach, okay? He keeps saying, oh, it's technology that's so advanced that no one understands it and it's not my fault. Well, yeah, if it's your technology, it's your fault. You're hired to do something, you failed, and, you know, you've got to give back some money. $350 is an absolute insult. I am ordering to return of the $2,750, 2,000 of it. That's my verdict.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff recovers $2,000 out of the $2,750 she paid him because he did such a poor job. In fact, he didn't do anything. Calvin, let's hear what you have to say about it. The judge has just ordered you to give her back $2,000.
Let me tell you something. I've been doing this for 30 years. I have clients that love my work. In this case, the wedding was 2 hours late, and they look at the video man as the problem. It was 2 hours late. All types of things happened.
Calvin.
No one even addressed that.
Calvin, you just look terrible. I'm sorry. Can't help it.
No, I don't.
But you
I look better than you. I look great.
Okay.
I'm amazing. I walk on water, dude.
Ms. King, how do you feel about this?
I'm glad I'm getting some money back. I wish I had my videos, but it is what it is.
Well, I know. Obviously, you know, I don't really know what videos he has and what he doesn't because his answers are.
I don't think he has anything.
Yeah, he fudges a lot. It's hard to figure it out. But bottom line is $2,000, you're going to get that. And, maybe you can have great memories from the photos. You're going to get all the pictures. You know that. That should make you
I
feel pretty
appreciate
good,
that.
right?
Yes.
All right. Sorry it worked out that way for you.
So, Doug, this is a case where if somebody screws up a job, they still may have done something that benefited the other person. And that means, for example, in a wedding, if somebody is supposed to do 10 different things and they screw up 3, if the person benefited from the 7 and it didn't completely ruin the wedding, they're entitled to something. It's the reasonable value of the services that they rendered that benefited the other person. That's why the judge awarded some, but not all of the money.
I live with my mother and I help her out with about 50% of expenses right now. She has said you can stay in the house as long as you can pay the bills. Otherwise, you'll have to sell it. That's not in the will and she can't afford to have the will revised. Can she just write it on a piece of paper and have it notarized and then it's good?
No. Every state has legislation. They all have laws about how you can amend a will and what. Right. And usually it has to do with having 2 witnesses.
Right.
Not just a notary, 2 witnesses and a notary. And, so you don't need to hire a lawyer. I don't know what that means that you can't afford to revise a will.
Well, they do wills online now, too. It's like bing, bang,
boom. Yeah, but
right?
this sounds like the house is being left to someone else.
Right.
And
Maybe, yeah.
and all she said to him is, if you can pay the bills, you can stay here.
So
I don't know what that doesn't mean. Who owns the house?
Life estate there, or he just lives there.
Yeah, that's very unclear. So that's going to be contested by whoever she actually is leaving the house to.
She should spend the money on another will. But you're right. All states have different rules on what
so
you can do.
You'd have to
Some
look
states
up the rules of your
notarization.
state and know that your mother is competent and be able to prove it in a court of law because. Where there's a will, there's relatives.
That's right.
And someone is supposed to get that house, and that's a pretty big change. So it's going to have to be to the letter of the law.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a scrap over that house,
I
would say.
This is the plaintiff, James Rhodes. He says his wife's friend is the defendant, and the woman bought some furniture from him and hasn't paid for it in full yet. He thought he could trust the woman to pay over time, but he was wrong, and is suing her here and now in this court for the $1,300 he's still owed. This is the defendant, Zena Davis. She says she bought a bed from the plaintiff, and when she got it home, the mattress was covered in urine stains. The guy was moving to another state and asked her if she wanted anything else, so she took a few items. Now he's trying to charge her after the fact? Come on! She's accused of a used furniture fiasco.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says that he loaned his wife's friend money to buy some furniture, and guess what? He says he got stiffed. But the defendant says the mattress she bought from him was covered in urine, and she's not paying him in full for it because she was hoodwinked. It's the case of you're in big trouble now.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Rhodes, tell me what happened with Ms. Davis and this furniture sale.
We agreed right after I came out of hospital for the sale of a Queen Anne's bed, a mattress, a box spring. She also got a whole chest and a wall
Okay,
unit.
but let's back it up a bit. How is it that you know her?
Through my wife. They were practicing the same religion, so that's why I figured I could trust her.
Okay.
But it seems that that's not the case. It turned out to be a lot different than what I expected.
Okay. But so what was the first discussion anybody had about buying furniture from you?
Well, initially she was going to buy my wife's china cabinet for $500, but when she saw what I had to offer, she changed her mind and backed out of that deal and decided to get the stuff that I was offering.
Okay, but how did she find out what you were offering?
I mentioned it to her.
Okay, so then when does she first see it, and what is it you guys agreed to first?
Well, when she first saw it, it was in my storage facility.
Right.
And that's when she saw everything.
Right, but so what is the first agreement that is reached, that when she goes there, she's supposed to be buying what?
The bed, I offered her the mattress and the box spring to go with her, a whole chest, and a wall unit.
And how much was she supposed to be paying for that?
$1,500.
And does she pay you the $1,500?
No, she only gave me $200.
Okay, but why are you selling it to her if she doesn't have the money? Why are you doing this payment plan thing with used furniture? This never goes well. We have a name for people like you. We call them litigants.
I figured since she was in the same religion as my wife.
What religion is this that we just trust them without any other further ado? What religion is this?
She was a Buddhist.
Okay, so according to you, the agreement is $1,500 for the items we just said. And then did she take other items as well?
No, she just took the bed, the mattress, the box spring, a whole chest, a small computer table unit, and a wall unit.
Is there anybody else present when the two of you make these decisions?
No, just between me and her.
Okay. Ms. Davis, what is your version about what you agreed to buy?
I remember when I was at his house and I was purchasing the comfort set and other items from his wife. She was telling me about the bed. I mean, he had a bed, and I had said I was going to buy the bed. And one day we had talked about it at my house, at his house. So I had left their home and went to the UPS store. I seen him. And we was also discussing the price of the bed. The bed, he stated, would be, he asked me that day, he said, well, hey, why don't you go online and find out how much the bed costs? I told him, no, that is your bed. You go online and you find out and you tell me. He stated to me, I would sell the bed half price of what you find it online. Him or his wife found a picture stating how much it was. They told me. I agreed to pay the amount.
Pay what? That's exactly what I'm trying to figure out. What did you agree to pay?
They found a bed for $1,500, I think, and it was half of that, and it was supposed to be like $750. That's half. Okay, when I got there, I brought my friend with me. First of all, his wife had contacted me through text message, asking me to come over there and help them move the stuff around in their furniture, in their storage. We got over to get the bed. I never asked for the bed because I knew I did not have the money, Your Honor. So
what were you doing in the storage room?
Ma'am,
What were you doing in the storage room if you weren't there to buy furniture?
They asked me to come over there and get the bed. They sent a text.
Well, then why don't you say, no, I don't have the money? I don't understand. That's what,
He
like,
knew I didn't
no
have
one
the
can
money
make me
because I
buy a
told him
bed I don't need or want. I don't get it. I'm just trying to understand what was in your head. What did you agree to?
In my head, $750.
So then you get to the storage room and what happens?
We get to the storage room and he wanted my friend to move other stuff around so he can get to other items that was often in his storage building. So when we got there, he was like, you can have this, you can have that, you can have this. That is what happened on that day.
Wait, so what else did you get?
He was taking out stuff. It was like the bed, the mattress, the
the hope chest, the wall unit, and the computer table?
And a table.
Okay. And according to you, all that was free?
I didn't say that it was free.
Well, how much was it?
He didn't put a price tag on it.
So why did you take it if you don't know how much it costs? Because he's disagreeing with you. He says you were very clear on how much it costs. You're just trying to snake out of paying it. And the normal transaction between two people is, you want to buy this? How much? This much. Sounds good. That's how that normally works. So I'm not understanding how you take all this furniture and you know you're supposed to pay something, but nobody ever discusses how much it is. That doesn't make any sense to me.
The reason why it's not making sense is because on that day in that storage building, he never said he was going to charge me for all those other items. And as a matter of fact, he was trying to say that he was going to, I guess, give the furniture. And I'm saying, I guess, give the furniture to me, I guess. I didn't want it. I didn't ask for it. It's in my house, sitting up there with no place to go.
Why
So
did
it's
you?
not
I'm
like
sorry.
I tried to
You're
snake
not.
him
You
out of
have to
anything.
understand that you're not making any sense to me because nobody goes through the trouble of getting a friend, getting a truck, and picking up furniture that they didn't want and they thought was free. But there's but you paid $200.
It was not about
I'm not buying
the other furniture, Your Honor.
Mr.
Your
Rhodes, do
Honor.
you have
It was
anything in
not about the
writing
other
that tells
furniture.
us how much the agreement was? Are there any
No.
texts? Are there any emails?
No, just verbal, because
Yeah,
I
that's-
figured she could be trusted.
Can you please stop saying that? All right? You
All
didn't
right,
know her
I'll
from a
stop
hole in
saying
the
that.
wall. I don't care what
Well-
religion. Everybody's some religion. Well, not necessarily. Well, I guess if you think of atheism as a credo, everybody believes in something. That doesn't make them honest, okay? So explain to me why it is that you don't have anything in writing, even if it's so much as a text, because I know you two know how to text because you text
Right.
each other. So how is there no text about the total amount and the agreement? It's so easy. You don't even need a lawyer. You don't need a piece of paper. You don't need a crayon. You just need your phone. And then before there's a problem, we'd have everything hammered out, right? Okay. So
Right.
now tell me what happens. Let's see the text you do have and where we end up there. Do you have a phone, Mr. Rhodes?
Yes,
Do you text on it?
yes.
Did
Most
you
of the
have
texts
any
that I sent her-
conversations? You gave us no texts, and that's weird in a case like this. So I'm curious, in your phone, are you sure that there's never a time when you text with her about what the price is?
No, it was just verbal.
You're positive.
agreed
You
to-
looked in your phone.
Right. She agreed $1,500, and when we were discussing it, she said she was going to pay every 2 weeks.
How much did you pay him, Ms. Davis?
I thought in the beginning it was $300, but he said 2, and I'm okay with that.
Well, how do you not know how much you paid? Don't you have a receipt? Okay. I see some text in October. By the way, when was the transfer of the furniture?
End of August.
Okay, so I see on October 30th, she says, stop all that damn lying. I am bringing all your blank back. I am not a charity case.
Right.
You asked me to come get this stuff.
Just
Also,
stop that.
nobody had my old address. God protect fools and babies. And from time to time, I am a little of both. I will text you when we bring you crap back to you. So you didn't want the furniture back, obviously. You wanted the rest of your money.
Right.
So was there some time when you set a meeting place where for her to pay you the money or something?
Well, I kept texting her. I kept calling, but she never answered my texts.
If you kept texting her and she wasn't answering, what was it you were texting her?
I was trying to get her to respond of when she would pay.
Exactly. Did you
Sure,
ever mention the amount?
No, I didn't mention the
All right. And would she ever respond to you?
No.
All right. So then what happens?
I tried to find out where she lived so I can go by and talk to her. But I found out that the phone number she gave wasn't her phone number. It was a boyfriend's phone number. And I found out her phone number didn't have a mailbox set up. When I did get a hold of her once where she talked to me, she told me that she monitored her phone calls so she can decide who she wanted to talk to. So each time I called on the phone, there was no answer because of the one phone that she gave me that was her boyfriend's phone number. The mailbox was always full, so I couldn't leave a message.
Okay.
So I texted him once
and
because I found out it was his phone number to ask him to ask her to contact me, but I never got a response back from him from my text.
so then you filed suit.
Yes. The one thing she mentioned in the beginning about the bed being, mattress being peed, which is a lie, because the only person that slept on it is me, unless I peed in the bed, which I don't. That wasn't true. She made that up. I don't know where she got it from, but it was a lie. It was an outright lie.
So I guess.
I think I stopped peeing in the bed when I was a
Well, I guess
infant.
she's referring to the stain that is in this picture, and so she's assuming.
I don't know where those stains come from, but those stains weren't there when I gave her the bed.
Welcome back to the People's Court. I think Aretha Franklin might say, who's scamming who? Let's go back into the courtroom and find out.
Ms. Davis, you have all this furniture. You've paid $200, and how is it that I should rule in your favor and just say you owe nothing?
Your Honor, I'm not asking you to rule in my favor to state that I owe nothing. I just want to say that at the time that me and him had that transaction, I was working. I had just got a job. I was working, and I had people that was getting fired, and I was working by myself, and I was telling him that. So I did not have the time to come over there and to even pay him another dime. Now, what I seen, and this is just verbally me speaking, what I seen is if he wanted his money so badly, he could have drove down to Minden as well as he wanted me to drive to Shreveport Bossier. He never suggested that, okay? He said, yes, it's very true. His wife and I are, were organization members, okay? And he did know me through that. I'm never saying that I don't owe him the money, which I even said to him, if you would give me time, the time is what he didn't give me. Every day I got off from work at 6, 7 o'clock, exhausted and driving back home. I did not feel like driving to Bossier. So I told him that verbally.
Why don't you just send a check?
That was not good enough for him.
But you could just mail a check or do a cash app. There's other ways to pay. You don't have to drive. Why would driving be the...
None of this was suggested, and at the time...
What's suggested? You're a grown woman. You know what's out there. He doesn't have to suggest. I don't get it. Like
I don't do
See,
cash
this is
app.
why you do... I understand, but, you know, just like my husband... I don't do that. Well, no, now you're gonna, someday, the day's gonna come when you're gonna have to do it, pal. You know, like this, you know, that's part, or if you don't like technology, then you do something called a check and you put something called a stamp on something called an envelope. There, you Pony Express. I mean, there are a million ways to pay someone when you wanna pay someone. You know, and this is why, Mr. Rhodes, you do not sell a used item to anyone, on a consignment plan. There are things I want you to understand, Mr. Rhodes, that you should learn through this case. Number one, things should be in writing. Even if that writing is just a text or an email, things should be in writing, okay?
Right.
That's what the telephone is for, creating a record, all right? Not just taking pictures of food or pictures of kids or pictures of sceneries. It's creating a record. Number two, if someone can't afford the furniture, don't, you know, you need to be prepared to go through this kind of hassle to get the money, because
Well, she never told.
Oh, come on. She only had $200 on her, and you
were
were giving her the furniture. Most people would say, let me know when you have the 15. That's how people sell furniture. When you've got the 15, we'll talk. But you wanted to get rid of it, so you were happy to do that. Okay, but you got lucky because in this trial she said, I'm not saying I don't owe the money. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying he was harassing me and just he wouldn't give me a chance to pay. So you got lucky in this trial, because if you had another judge who believed her, or if she had said something different and said, I was supposed to pay $200 for everything and I've already paid it, how were you going to prove differently? You know?
I couldn't.
Right.
It was all verbal.
Right. Yes. It was all verbal. Which is not to say that verbal agreements are not enforceable. It's to say they're harder to prove. That's all.
Right.
They're harder to prove. But she said, look, I'm not saying I don't know the money. I thought the bed was just saying, I thought he was giving me the other stuff, but even she has backpedaled on that during the testimony. I'm finding in favor of the plaintiff and the amount of the remaining $1,300. Verdicts for the plaintiff.
So the plaintiff, Mr. Rhodes, gets exactly what he was suing for here in the People's Court, the full $1,300. Ms. Davis, let me ask you a quick question here. The judge says you got to pay him. You owe him the $1,500. You've already given him $2,000, so you owe him $1,300. What have you learned from
Oh,
this?
I don't mind. I mean, I never said I didn't owe any money. It's just like a lot of stuff I did not want, and he knows it. So I'm okay with whatever. I'm glad it's over.
It's all right. It is over, and unfortunately, you lost. All right, Mr. Rhodes.
That's okay.
I imagine you've learned something from this case too. You've learned what a telephone is for. It's for writing. That's what the judge says, right?
Right, and keeping records. And like I said, the biggest issue is that when I tried to text her to discuss the issue, she would never reply to the text. So it's kind of hard for me to get anything after we had made the verbal agreement in text when she wouldn't respond to the text.
The bottom line is you've learned a lot, I'm sure, from this. If you sell anything again, don't trust somebody to pay on time if you don't have it in writing, right? That's the bottom line. Okay? All right, Harvey, what do you think?
Doug, this is essentially an enforceable oral contract. And a lot of people wonder about this. People think, contract isn't legal unless it's in writing. There are a few contracts, like real estate contracts, that do have to be in writing, but a lot of contracts don't. So then the question, well, why not just do oral contracts rather than written? It's easier. The problem is it's harder to prove what was said. So you go to court, you say one thing, the other person says something else, and if you have the burden of proof, you lose the case. If you have a piece of paper in hand, guess what? You win.
Marilyn, I've heard you comment several times on After the Verdict about being annoyed with being at a restaurant and someone has a mask on and then pulls it down when they come up to you. Do you call them out for it? And if so, what do you say?
I know that at the beginning of...
You're so timid. I can't see you calling somebody out. Something like that. You'd let me do it.
When COVID first happened, I actually had the restaurateur, the owner of the restaurant. Do you remember that? Where
yes.
He goes, blah, 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 blah. He's right on top of me, and he pulls his mask down. I'm like, whoa. And he said, we can't hear through these things. I go, that's the point, is that you're supposed to keep it on when you're coming close.
I remember the restaurant. It was in Miami.
Yeah.
I was in a bakery with you in North Carolina, and I'd left a mask in the car. You're supposed to have a mask on in there. And I'm in line with no mask, thinking, maybe I can do a quick hit here and get in and out. And two guys coming behind me, and they're like, dude, where's your mask? Put your mask on, right?
Right.
And I was so, just irked me the way they said it, right?
Which they were right.
Yeah, I know. So I mouthed off to them.
What did you say?
I can't remember, but I went out to the car.
I kind of remember this.
I went out to the car. I said something like, yeah, okay, Karen. I went out to the car.
You did?
I put my mask on. I came back in, and I was like, I told the guy, look, I'm sorry about that.
I'm really sorry.
And he was like, don't worry. He goes, we're all frazzled over this. I go, I shouldn't have said that, But so I put it on, and I came back in.
I think I heard about all this after the fact.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't think I heard it while you said something, and I don't think I noticed that you didn't have it.
People can't keep this up much longer.
I don't know what the answers are anymore. I just want this over with.
I know.
In the worst way.
I don't want it to be the new normal.
No.
But apparently in some Asian countries on the other side of the world, they do wear masks in the subways all the time and stuff. And people.
Well, now, I really don't want to get cooties anymore, and I'm frankly, I don't want to get anybody's flu either. So I'm probably gonna be wearing a mask on the flights all the time.
No, but they've been doing it for like 15 years.
I know. They've been doing it on flights. You see that on flights that people from Asia will have the masks on during the whole flight.
Right.
Yeah, but I think there's some new normals that we're all going to... I really don't think we should be shaking hands. Yeah, I think that's the grossest habit. Why can't we just, do something else? Do something else.
Right.
But that came back. I thought that would be like...
This is safer.
This is safe.
Right.